Greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Yep, it's time for another Doctor Who episode review. And today we're going to be looking at the final outing of the Third Doctor, Planet of the Spiders. So, with that being said, here we go. Following the events of Invasion of the Dinosaurs, Mike Gates was discharged from unit and is now attending a Tibetan meditation center in rural England. Sarah Jane Smith visits him, and they witness some curious happenings at the center, seemingly organized by a resident called Lupton, a middle-aged farmer salesman, and his cronies. Mike and Sarah stumble across Lupton performing an incantation, which conjures up a giant spider into the middle of the basement room. Ugh, I feel bad for anyone who has arachnophobia. It jumps on Lupton's back and then disappears. The spider manifests itself in Lupton's head, telling him to seek out and locate a certain blue crystal. I wonder what sort of blue crystal he's looking for, eh? The Third Doctor has developed an interest in psychic ability, but his testing of a clairvoyant called Professor Clegg backfires when his subject has a heart attack. Okay, then that's a little weird. In his trickery, Clegg comes into contact with the blue crystal from Metabellus 3, sent back from the Amazon by Joe Grant, which caused him to see the image of deadly spiders. Sarah returns from the retreat, having left Mike to watch things there, and she and the Doctor swap spider tails. Meanwhile, Lupton has also arrived at Uden HQ and steals the crystal from the Doctor's laboratory. Uh-oh. A multi-vehicle chase ensues, which Lupton escapes by teleporting himself back to the monastery. Once there, the spider reveals that it is plotting against some of its sisters back on Metabellus 3. The spiders in the crystal originate from the same blue planet in the Acteon galaxy, which was none too hospitable to the Doctor the last time he visited during the Green Death. Coming full circle, I see, The Doctor and Sarah now make for the monastery and tell the Deputy Abbot, Cho Jae, that something is very amiss. The crystal now strays again when it is taken by Tommy, the simple-minded handyman of the retreat, whose mind is opened and improved by the power of the crystal. Lupton is teleported to Metabellus 3, unwittingly allowing Sarah to follow him. She soon meets the human slave inhabitants of the planet, a generally dispirited bunch, other than the rebellious Arak, who is now in hiding. The planet is ruled by the Eight Legs, or giant spiders, and their queen is the supreme ruler. They govern using guards chosen from among the planet's two-leg human population, and their own phenomenal mental powers, amplified by the blue stones of the planet. The Doctor arrives on the planet and he makes contact with Arak, who explains that the Metalbalans are the descendants of the crew of an Earth spaceship, which crashed hundreds of years before. The spider on board found its way to the Blue Mountains, where, through the effect of the crystals, its progeny grew larger and larger and cleverer. The Doctor works out that a negative stone can absorb and reject the power of the blue crystals. He starts a revolt among the humans, now protected by these stones, but this is not effective far into the Blue Mountains. The Doctor explores there and encounters the Great One, an enormous spider which controls the world of Metabellus and desires power over other domains too. She craves the crystal as it will complete a lattice of hundreds of similar crystals on her web and magnify her mental powers immensely. She knows the crystal is still on Earth and sends the Doctor there to get it for her. He flees back to Earth with Sarah, not knowing the Queen Spider has now implanted itself in his companion's mind. Dun dun dun! Tommy has given the crystal to the abbot, Kanpo Rinpoche, who was an elderly Time Lord and the one-time hermit and mentor of the Doctor. He now lives in peaceful exile on Earth. He tells the Doctor of Sarah's control and they work together to expel the Queen Spider. A fight breaks out in the monastery between Lupton's cronies and the abbot's men. The abbot advises the Doctor to take the crystal to the Great One. He suggests that, as the Doctor started this chain of events by removing the crystal in the first place, it is up to him to put it back. He departs in the TARDIS with the crystal. On Metabellus 3, Lupton has been killed by the spiders after falling out with the Spider Queen. When the TARDIS lands, the Doctor heads to the cave of the Great One with the crystal. He warns her of the danger of completing the lattice, but does so anyway. However, the forces unleashed are too strong for the Great One, and the positive feedback kills her and the other spiders. A vast wave of deadly radiation floods the cave. The Doctor, now very weak, staggers back to the TARDIS and away. 3 weeks later, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Sarah are in the Doctor's laboratory when the TARDIS materializes and the Doctor finally returns. On exiting the TARDIS, he collapses on the floor. The Abbot Kenpo arrives in his new body, having regenerated into the form of Cho Jae, who was a sort of a projection of his soul. He tells them that the Doctor will change too, and before their eyes, the Doctor regenerates into his 4th incarnation. Hoo-wee! So yeah, a lot of heavy stuff, and I also like the callbacks to previous episodes. So anyway, let's look at some production and cast notes of the story. The final story of season 11, to have been titled The Final Game, was originally intended to write out the character of the Master, with the villainous Time Lord sacrificing his life to save the Doctor. Due to the death of actor Roger Delgado, script editor Terrence Dicks abandoned the project in favor of a new story, which eventually evolved into Planet of the Spiders. The railway station Sarah Jane arrives at in Part 1 is Mortimer, near Reading. Yessing Churchman has provided the voice of Alpha Centauri in both The Curse of Peladon and his sequel, The Monster of Peladon, the serial immediately preceding Planet of the Spiders. Kismet Delgado, the widow of Roger Delgado, who played the Master during the Third Doctor's era, was one of the voices of the Spiders. Rolf Forgione will later play Nimrod in Ghostlight. So, yeah, overall, a pretty solid story and a fitting farewell to the Third Doctor. So, I give Planet of the Spiders 5 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as I'll count on my top 10 favorite Third Doctor stories, and the week after that, we'll be going to the era of my favorite Doctor, the 4th Doctor, with Robot. So, until next week, this is Hoovy and Queen saying, "Oh my giddy aunt! When I say run, run! I have a versatility of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly, baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo!" Bow ties are cool, fences are cool, and Stetsons are cool.